Welcome back to Data Association. I hope you are doing very well. In this tutorial, we are diving into exciting end-to-end project. This project will showcase the power of data warehousing, data factory, and data engineering, and Power BI, all revolving around New York City iconic taxi data. Our primary focus will be on data warehousing, data factory experience. So let's start with overview solution architecture of this project. We will using the NYC taxi data. This taxi, also known as Medallion taxi, can be pick up passenger anywhere in the 5 borough, but most commonly found in Manhattan. For this project, we will work with 2024 data. Our goal is to load it into Fabric Lakehouse, which serve as a storage layer of this file. The data will be Parquet format with each file containing 1 month of worth data. Once the data file are available in Lakehouse, we will use the data factory copy activity to ingest the file into a staging table in our warehouse. The staging layer will also include a taxi zone lookup table. This is the static table that will load using one of the pipeline and leave unchanged throughout the project. Next, we will use the data flow Gen2 activity to clean and process the yellow taxi data as well as taxi zone lookup data from staging layer. We will combine this data set and load them into warehouse, making the data ready for serving as a reporting. Later in this project, we will replace this data flow Gen2 activity with a store procedure. This will help us to demonstrate how a store procedure can provide a more efficient way to process the data. We will expose the presentation table in our semantic data model and use it to create a Power BI report. So overall, automation is a key to ensure the seamless processing of new data each month. For this, we will create a metadata table called processing log. This table will store details such as number of row proceed to staging table and latest date of data. Before loading new data, we will delete NYC taxi yellow staging table. However, presentation layer will maintain the full history of data, and all data from the staging table will be appended to this presentation layer. So that's the plan of our project. By the end, you will have a strong understanding of how to integrate data warehousing, data engineering, and reporting into cohesive workflow using Power BI. So let's get started and bring this project to our day-to-day work. Firstly, let us overview of New York City taxi data from nyc.gov website. The link to access this data is available in description for this video. Make sure to check out this. The file for 2024 is ready to download. You can see here 2024, you can see also 2023. For this tutorial, we will working with data from January to March, and you can click here yellow taxi trip record to download. At the time of recording, this is the most recent data available. Click on each month yellow taxi trip record data. This one February and March. You can also download for April, May, June to November yellow taxi trip data for practice. Each file around 50 MB each. Once you upload this Microsoft Fabric Lakehouse, we can delete from local storage to save this. These data file are in Parquet format and contain detailed trip information. You can also see here dictionary of this data. At the bottom, you can see here yellow trip data dictionary. You can click here to see the detail about information, vendor ID. That data contain vendor ID. One means creative mobile technology, two means Verifone, pickup date time, drop off date time, passenger count, rate coded ID, and so on. Most importantly, here payment type we can use here dictionary. One means credit, two means cash, and so on, and total amount. We will use this dictionary for our project. And most importantly, don't forget to download this taxi zone lookup table as well. This is the CSV format and contain information about each location. If you click on this and download, you can, after clicking on this, you can download, open this. This table include details such as borough, zone, and service zone by location ID. These can be linked to pickup and drop off location ID in the yellow taxi trip data. Once all the file is downloaded, we already downloaded here. If you click on this, downloaded from January to August month. Once all this file downloaded, ensure you have a January, at least January to March Parquet file and taxi zone lookup table. All these data set are required for our project. Now let's switch to Microsoft Fabric account. Here I am in the home page of Microsoft Fabric and I am using here trial account. Now let's start by creating the new workspace. Click here workspace to our project. Now click here new workspace and name it NYC Taxi Data Project. Click here apply button to create a new workspace. Here new workspace created, NYC Taxi Data Project. Okay, you can see here I am in the new workspace. Now let's create. Now next I will create lakehouse to load data into lakehouse, which I downloaded. NYC taxi data, which is Parquet format, and lookup table, which is CSV format. So under the storage account, you can see here lakehouse. So click here. Now name it project lakehouse. You can also check here to create a schema under lakehouse. So click here, create. Now lakehouse created. Now go to here file section. Click here three dot to create new subfolder to organize file. So name it subfolder NYC taxi yellow data, NYC taxi underscore yellow. Okay. So here is subfolder created. Go to this subfolder and click here to load data, or you can also click here three dot. Go to here upload and upload file. Click here this file icon and let's load January, February and March yellow trip data to lakehouse. This NYC taxi yellow subfolder. Click here, upload each file around 50 MB. You can see here. So let's upload this. While uploading, let's create another subfolder and name it NYC taxi lookup zone folder. And you can see here under NYC taxi yellow, here yellow trip data file uploaded, which is Parquet format. Now let's go to NYC taxi zone lookup folder. This is subfolder, and let's upload by clicking here get data, and you can see here upload file. Now again click here this folder icon and let's load here taxi zone lookup file, which is CSV format. So let's open and upload. At this point in NYC taxi lookup zone, here is CSV file, and in NYC taxi yellow, here is Parquet file. Three Parquet file, January, February and March trip data. Okay. Now next I will create a warehouse to create table for lookup and NYC taxi yellow. So let's switch to NYC taxi project workspace and click here new, and under same storage section you can see here warehouse. So click here warehouse and name it project warehouse. For lakehouse we given name here project lakehouse and name it warehouse as a project warehouse. Okay. Click here create button to create warehouse. Here warehouse has been created. Now let's load first lookup table into staging schema. Okay, so let's go to again workspace NYC taxi data project and click here. Let's first create subfolder. Click here new subfolder and name it NYC taxi yellow pipeline to organize pipeline in this folder only. Okay, so let's go to this subfolder and click here new button, and you can see here data pipeline. So click here and name it this pipeline as PL stage lookup zone. So by this pipeline I will create the lookup table in data warehouse. Okay, so I will use here copy activity. You can click here pipeline activity to select activity copy data activity, or under activity section you can see here copy data activity, or you can also click here three dot to see all activity available for this pipeline. Okay, so let's click here copy data activity add to canvas. Okay, in general tab name it copy lookup zone, and activity status should be activated. Go to here source section and let's select here our data available in lakehouse project lakehouse for lookup file. So now root folder, select here files, and now let's browse this file. So go to here NYC taxi lookup zone, select taxi zone lookup file, which is CSV format. So this is CSV format. So make sure to select here file format as a delimited text. And if you select here setting, you can see here it's automatically select here column delimiter comma. If this is not comma delimiter, you let us suppose this is pipe delimited, then we need to select here pipe. So leave it for now. Row delimited, leave it by default. Let's click here OK, and you can also click here button this preview data to see data available in this file. Okay, you can see here location ID, borrow zone and service zone. Let's close this. Now select here this activity again and go to here destination. Now select here project warehouse. This is our destination. Let's select here table option as a auto create table, and we need to use here staging schema and name it taxi lookup zone. Okay, and under advanced section leave it by default mapping. It's automatically mapped, so no need to do anything here, and setting also leave it by default. Now go to here home tab and save this pipeline first, and you can also click here to validate. If any error contain this pipeline, then you can see here in validate section. Now let's run this. If you click here anywhere in this canvas, then you can see here pipeline running status. So pipeline status in progress, and this is a activity name copy data activity, activity status in progress, run, date and time, start, date and time, duration you can see here. Okay, you can also click here button, this refresh button, to refresh this pipeline to see current status. By the way, this pipeline is automatically refresh after 10 to 15 seconds. You can see here every 5 seconds it's refresh automatically. Let's wait to succeed this pipeline. Once the pipeline is succeeded, you can see here status succeeded, taxi lookup created in warehouse. So let's check project, go to here project warehouse and let's refresh this first. Under you can see here stg schema created. Select here, go to here table section and you can see here taxi lookup zone table created. You can see here location id, borrow zone and service zone. Now let's navigate to project lakehouse. Here I want to ingest yellow trip data to warehouse in staging schema. To do that, let's go to here NYC taxi data project and click here new item in NYC taxi yellow pipeline folder and click here data pipeline, and let's create new pipeline PL staging stage processing yellow trip data. Let's create, click here to create new pipeline. Here pipeline is created. Let's use here pipeline activity, click here and use here copy data activity, and in general tab copy nyc trip data. Okay, let's configure here source. Let's use project lakehouse because file is placed in this lakehouse, available in this lakehouse, and directory here. If you go to here project lakehouse, this is directory nyc taxi. So copy this and go to pipeline and use here directory as a nyc taxi yellow, and file name here you can see here file name yellow trip data 2024-01. I want to ingest this file only first, then we make all this dynamically. So if I copy this, click here and copy this file format, go to workspace, here pipeline, and I want to make this file, I want to make this file name as a dynamic. So click here add dynamic content and go to here variable, and let's create here new variable. Click on variable, then plus icon, and name it variable as a v underscore date, data type as a string. Let's confirm here. Here variable created. Now let's go to here function and let's use one of the function concat function to make file name as a variable with dynamic as a with variable. So this is a file name yellow tip data, and remove this from here, and I want to make this concat. So comma dash, and in again comma, put here single quote, this is a concat. In between this comma, let's use here this variable. So I use here yellow trip data underscore dash then variable to make this 2024-01-02 as a variable content, and then dot parquet. So click OK, and make sure to choose here file format as a parquet. Destination, now go to here destination, configure this destination as a project warehouse. Choose here and let's choose here project warehouse, and this is I am creating first time for yellow trip data. So let's choose here auto create table, which create automatically table in warehouse and in table in staging schema, and name it yellow underscore trip data. Okay, advanced leave it by default for now, and mapping and setting also leave it by default. So before run this pipeline, put here by default value for this v underscore dat, which is 2024-01. Okay, so now if I go to here source 2024, this variable I put here 2024-01. So it's make here yellow underscore tip data underscore 2024-01 dot target. Okay, so cancel this now and go to here, save this pipeline first and validate. Here is validated, it's look good. So now let's run this by clicking here. Here is, you can see pipeline is in progress. If you click on anywhere in this canvas, you can see here pipeline status in progress, and you can see here other detail. So let's wait to run this pipeline to succeed. So after duration 1 minute 28 second, this pipeline is succeeded. So let's verify. Let's navigate to warehouse, and let's first refresh this. You can see here table is created, yellow tip data table. If I click here to preview this table, so here is we successfully ingest data from project lakehouse to warehouse. Now I want to do some cleaning. So let's go to here new query editor, click here new query, and let's find maximum minimum date. Go to here table view, and we have a yellow data table, yellow trip data table, and let's find here, select maximum and maximum tpap pickup date time, tpap underscore pickup underscore date time, and minimum tpap pickup and date time from stage dot yellow taxi trip data. Run this, and you can see here maximum date time fall in February data, but I want only 2024-01 and 31st. I want only 1st January to 31st January, and you can also see here minimum date fall in December March 2002. Okay, so let's do some cleaning to do that. Let's delete from which table, stage yellow trip data, where tpap is less than 240101, means less than 1st of January, or right here, or tpap pickup date time greater than or equal to, right here, 2024 which fall in February month. Okay, so that is cleaning. I want to make this procedure as a this query as a dynamic, so to so that we creating here procedure, create procedure. I want to run this in pipeline as well. So stg, name it data cleaning procedure. For example, let us suppose this is name as data cleaning procedure, and let's create here some variable, start date as a date time. Okay, and let's suppose we again here comma, and then end date time, and this is a start date. Copy this parameter and paste here, start date 1st of Jan, end date paste here, greater than, which fall in February month. Okay, so this is a parameter as. Now let's create this procedure. Select this one and run this. Here is procedure created. Let's copy this procedure, and now let's go to again pipeline and go to here activity tab, and let's add here procedure activity after copy data. So let's configure first, name it sp removing outlier data, for example outlier dates. Okay, and let's go to here setting, and let's use here warehouse, and let's select here procedure. If you refresh this, you can see your procedure list. So let's wait to refresh this. Now you can see here data cleaning procedure which we created earlier, And let's also import procedure parameter. Click here to import. Here you can see here two parameter, end date and start date. So this data type should be date time, and here value should be 31st January. So let's make this dynamic. So click here add dynamic, and let's create here variable. So for example v end date. Let's create a string first, and let's set this end date as a variable. So let's use first here. You can see here in control flow here set variable. So let's set variable use and define value for end date. V end date set. Let's go to here setting and use here variable v end date, and value should be, let's use first concatenate function, and add here variable v end date, then comma dash 01. It means 2024 dash 01 dash 01. I want to add here, if I go to here date function, I want to add date time. So let's use here date time, and I want to add 1 month, right here month, and this is formula. If click here OK, and first let's deactivate for this set variable verification, and let's run this only, this one, validate, and run this, save and run. So if you execute this pipeline for only set variable, here succeeded. Close this, and if you click here output, you can see here 2024 underscore 02 underscore 01 means delete greater than equal to February data. Okay, so link this and also link this to this one. Okay, and now let's go to activate this. Before activate this, I want to delete this source data, destination data as well. So let's use here, now this table is created, so let's use here use existing table, and table name should be yellow trip data, and go to here advanced and write here this is table name. So right here pre copy execute, I want to delete this table, delete data from the table, so no duplicate record in this staging table. Okay, so now let's go to again here procedure, activate this procedure and set this parameter first end date. Use here, go to here end date, and this is variable we end date. Click OK, and now start date should be, go to here dynamic and go to here again variable, and we end date, we need to use here function. So let's go to here function and use here concatenate function, and this should be 01 as well, because we underscore date contain 0 to 2024 dash 01. Now we concatenate here 01 as well, dash 01 as well. Okay, so copy, click OK. Now this parameter we make here dynamic. Now execute this again, save and run this. You can see here this pipeline is in progress. Now you can see here this pipeline is succeeded. Now let's go to your warehouse and check again this outlier date. So if I execute this query, now you can see here maximum date 2024-01 dash 31st Jan, and here only means it's contain only January data. So now let's create metadata table to store the information about staging table and pipeline. To do that, let's create a new SQL query editor. Click here to create new. First create schema to store the metadata table. So let's create simple command, create schema. I name it metadata and run this to create this schema. You can see here schema is created, metadata schema. Let's create a table called processing log, which store the information about staging and pipeline metadata. So let's structure this table quickly. Create table, type here metadata dot processing log. I name it this table as a processing log in metadata schema. So let's structure quickly. As you can see here, I have structured the processing underscore log as pipeline and ID varchar table proceed. I will capture this from the system variable and table proceed. I will hard coded this and row count of row in this yellow tip data table and latest proceed date. I will also capture this from the system variable proceed date time. I captured this one and latest proceed date I captured from the yellow trip data. Okay, so let's create this table. Latest proceed pickup date time capture from the yellow trip data from this column tpap pickup date time. Okay, so now let's also create procedure to store the dynamically in this table processing log table. To do that, let's create a new query editor. Let's create procedure, create procedure in metadata schema dot name it as a insert staging metadata. Okay, and let's quickly structure this. Now you can see here I write here procedure name, create procedure metadata dot insert staging metadata. I create here three parameter, pipeline run ID which capture from staging variable, table name I will hard coded this, and proceed date time, I will capture from the system variable as well, pipeline trigger date time. Okay, insert into metadata dot processing log and select here I give here parameter pipeline run ID, table name, count star means number of row from the yellow trip data, and maximum tpap pickup date time as a latest proceed pickup date time, and proceed date as a proceed date time. Okay, so I will take here 3 parameter and count from the yellow trip data, and this one latest proceed pickup from the tpap pickup date time. So let's create this procedure in metadata schema. If I run this, you can see here procedure is created, and you can see this procedure in here. You can see here staging metadata insert staging metadata procedure is created. Okay, so now let's integrate this procedure into pipeline. So go to here again pipeline and go to here activity tab and click here three dot, and you can see here in transform section store procedure. Let's link this to from here to here. I will deactivate this activity because I already proceed this, and let's configure this procedure. Store metadata processing log stage from stage. Okay, let's go to here setting tab and let's use here project warehouse. Refresh this to see list of procedure in this project warehouse. If you click here drop down, then you can see here insert staging metadata in metadata schema store procedure, and select this store procedure, import parameter from this store procedure. Now you can see here parameter. Now let's make this parameter dynamically. So pipeline run ID, click here in value and add dynamic content and go to here system variable, and you can see here pipeline run ID. So click on this. Okay, proceed date time, choose here date time data type, go to here value, add dynamic value, and proceed date time should be pipeline trigger time. Okay, so click on this and click OK. Table name, this should be fix yellow trip data. Right here staging yellow tip data. No need to write here single quote enclosed with table name. You can delete here staging because my table name is yellow tip data. Okay. You can also type here stage for reference. Okay. So now let's validate this pipeline. Go to your home tab and validate. Here is look good. So run this, save and run. Here this procedure is succeeded. You can see here also notification and procedure is succeeded. Now let's go to here warehouse to validate this table. This is table name metadata dot processing log, and I will select star from metadata dot processing log. If I execute this query, then here data should be captured. So pipeline and ID here is captured, table name staging yellow tip data, number of row proceed here around 3 million, latest proceed pickup date, this should be of course 31st January, and proceed date time, this is the pipeline and ID. Okay, so that's we capture here metadata of staging table and pipeline. Now let us finalize the staging pipeline. So if I go to here this pipeline and click anywhere in canvas and go to here variable, and you can see here v underscore date, which is I coded here hard coded 2024-01, but we need it to automatically update to next month if the next file is proceed. So how we can automate this or dynamically update this? To do that, let's go to here activity tab and click here three dot, and let's use here script activity in transform section. So let's add and place this activity before copy data activity, and before doing any activity here, let's deactivate other activity because I don't want to rerun again this, and finalize this as a dynamic value v underscore date. To do that, let's configure, name it latest file processing, and go to here and let's configure here setting, use here project warehouse, and you can use here query and non-query activity. I will also give demo on a script activity in my channel, you can check from my channel. And let's use here query select top first, because this activity does not support for now any aggregate function, so I am using here top one, and I use here latest processed pickup date from the metadata processing log table, from metadata dot processing underscore log table, and we also use here table proceed, which is our table staging yellow tip data, and order by this latest proceed pickup as a descending order. So let's first verify this query as well. So copy this and go to here project warehouse, and let's paste here this table query and run this. Now as expected 2024-01-31st Jan. So again go to here, navigate to this pipeline and run this. So all activity here is deactivated and run this only this activity. So let's verify in activity script as well. So you can see here this pipeline is running in progress, and let's wait. You can see here only 14 seconds this script is succeeded, and let's check here output. So if click here, and you can see here this result in JSON format, and here you can see a result set, and you can see here square bracket, which means data in array, and in this result set here is the row, and this row also contain here array, which is latest proceed pickup date as expected 2024 1st of January and 31st Jan. So I want to capture this value. To do that, we need here some dynamic value and let's use here, let's close first, and let's use here activity, set variable activity. So you can see here set variable activity, okay, and place this before escaped activity, before copy activity, after escaped activity, and let's link this to set variable, okay, and let's go to here set variable and set v underscore date dynamically, okay. So we want to make this dynamically v underscore date, and let's use here variable v underscore date, and let's add dynamic content, and you can see here output of latest file processing, you can see here, and click on this, and this is output, but need here some formula to capture that date, okay. So we require here result as set, which is first value dot rows dot, which is again array, so I need to put here 0, then latest proceed pickup, okay, latest proceed pickup. So click ok, because we write here, if you go to again this result set, here is the result set, and then we put here 0 because this is first starting from 0, and this is a row count, is a metadata count of a file as well, and then in this row again this is 0 position, so we put here in a square bracket 0 in this formula, okay. So let's verify this by running this pipeline, okay. So run this pipeline, go to your home tab and run this. You can see here pipeline status in progress. Now we set v underscore date dynamically, set variable is succeeded, and now as expected here is 31st Jan 2024 result, okay. Now what we need here, February data, so let's add this to 1 month. Click here before activity, and after at the rate go to here function, and go to here add date function, and let's use here add to date function to add 1 month in this formula. So use here 1 and then month, okay, and click ok. Now again let's verify what we get from this. Now let's verify, go to here set v underscore date dynamically activity, which is this one, and you can see here as expected here is 2024-02-29, but we require here 2024-02 only. To do that, let's format this. Again go to a set variable and click here and put here cursor and go to here function, and let's use here format date time. So click here and delete closing bracket and comma, and you can write here y dash in caps to format in 2024 dash only 02, okay. So if I click here, and you can see here, if I execute now this pipeline, so here this pipeline is succeeded, and let's check as expected 2024-02. So we automate this variable as well, v underscore date. So let's link this to copy data activity, and let's reactivate all this activity. Go to here general tab and activate, 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 okay. So but do not run this for now, this pipeline, because it's proceed to next file, but before do that I need some other table to create. So now let's create the presentation table using staging data, which we create here this table, yellow taxi data and taxi zone lookup table, which is going to be final table in review schema, okay, to create the report. So let's go to here NYC taxi data workspace and go to here new item, and let's you can see here data flow gen 2. So I am creating presentation table or final table using data flow gen 2. So let's click on this and name it df presentation, which is going to be final table nyc taxi. Okay, so let's create here. Actually this is a data flow gen 2 is a power query online, and let's select here first get data, and let's click here, and you can see here the project warehouse. So click on this and you can see here number of sources. If you go to here back, and you can see here you can make connection from these sources. Okay, here is number of sources available. So we require here only our project warehouse, and select this, and you can see here the yellow trip data and taxi lookup zone. So let's select both and click here to create this, and you can see here this diagram view and this is data view. So if you go to here view, and if you uncheck this, then you cannot see diagram view. To make sure to this check, and if you uncheck this, then you cannot see here query settings. So also check here. Okay, and this is data view. So let's click on query setting. Okay, so let's also expand this and also expand this to see the step. So first see this transformation for yellow trip data. So you can see here vendor ID, T pickup date time, T PEP drop off date time, passenger count and trip distance. But we do not require here record ID and this one. So let's right click and click here remove column, and again see here we require here due location ID, payment type, and this column is not required. So let's select this to here, and you can also go to here home tab, and you can see here remove column. To click on this to remove, we also not required this column as well. So right click and remove, and this one, these two column, right click and remove. Okay, now you can see here vendor ID, but if you remember we have a dictionary table. In vendor ID, one means creative mobile technology, two means Verifone. So let's do same. So go to here vendor ID and go to here add column and add conditional column. Name it vendor in a small letter, and add here two condition, one and two. One means creative, right here creative mobile technologies, and two means Verifone. Click OK. You can see here one means creative mobile technology, two means Verifone. Okay, so now let's, else also you write here unknown. If not match any one and two, then unknown you can also write here, and click OK. Drag this to first place and right click and remove this column. Okay, now you can also see here same payment type. If you go to here again dictionary, and you can see here payment type, one means credit card, two cash, three no charge, four dispute, five unknown, and six voided trip. So go to here again and payment type, make payment type as a dictionary. Go to here add column, and again add here conditional column, and this is payment type, and let's add here six condition. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Let's delete this, and one which is credit card, two which is cash, three which is no charge, four which is dispute, and five which is unknown, and six which is voided trip, and else also write here unknown. If not match any value from payment type 1 2 3 4, then else unknown. And now click here OK, and drag this to here payment type, not here. Okay, and right click and remove this column. Now also you can see here PU location ID. Also I make this to dictionary view. So let's click on this yellow trip data, and you can see here merge query as a new. So click on this, and you can also see here taxi lookup zone. So select, first we need to clean also this taxi zone. So if you go to here and change this data type to number, whole number, because in yellow trip data this is in number, PU which is number, and drop off which is also number data type. Okay, so now go to here yellow trip data and go to here three dot and select here merge query as a new, and now select here first pickup location ID, and let's select lookup table and select here this, and choose here join as a left join. So all record from this staging table and matching record from lookup table. Okay, so let's create here, click OK and expand this and select only borrow and John lookup. So I make this join to get the pickup borrow and pickup John. So let's wait to proceed this. Now this is rename this column. This is pickup borrow and this is pickup John. Okay. So let's drag this both column to here. So select this and here, and now remove this. Now again go to here. I also want to get this drop of borrow and drop of John. So let's again go to here three dot, and you can also collapse this first, and now go to here merge query as a new and select again taxi John lookup table and select this, and also select here due location ID, and again left outer join, click OK. Let's wait to proceed this. Now you can see here. Now let's expand this to get drop of borrow and drop of John. Now again let's rename this du borrow, and this is du John. Okay, and let's drag both column to here and remove this one ID. So we have a column. Let's rearrange numeric column last and all dictionary column here, and also change here data type. This is tax. I want only date for both. You can change here. You can also change from here data which is tax. Okay, payment type, and also here you can see passenger count, trip distance, and total amount. Now go to here home tab and let's add here destination as a warehouse, and let's click here next, select here warehouse. So for now we do not have a table, so let's create new table, name it yellow trip data. By default it created in DVO schema, and let's click here next. Let's select append to existing data every time and all these column. Okay, so save this setting. It's automatically created in DVO schema, and now publish this. Now you can see here this rotate here means it is publishing. After publishing, here is refresh date and time. So let's wait. Now after refresh, you can see here refresh. Now you can see here data flow. This data flow is refreshed at 4:26. Okay, this is refresh date and time. So let's go to here warehouse again and let's verify this. If you click here, you can see here in DVO schema here is final table is created, yellow trip data. Let's query this. You can go to here and let's select here also, click on three dot and let's select top 100. Now here vendor ID, trip, pick up date, drop of date time, and this is borrow, pickup and John. And as you can see here, as defined in data flow, here is table created. Okay, now let's go to here again, NYC taxi data workspace, and you can see here this pipeline, this data flow. I want to run this data flow using pipeline, so let's go to this folder and click here new item, and let's create new pipeline. Name it this pipeline PL, presentation processing taxi data. Okay, click here create button to create this pipeline, and let's add, go to here activity tab, and you can see here data flow activity, or you can also click here three dot to add this data flow and name it processing to presentation. Go to here setting and select appropriate data flow DF, presentation processing NYC taxi. So when I run this pipeline, then this data flow is executed. Now again I want to capture the log which process in this metadata in presentation table. To do that, go to here again warehouse, and you can see this procedure we create previously for staging. Now let's create for presentation table. So copy this and let's click here new editor and paste here, and this is we name it presentation processing right here, presentation metadata. Okay, insert presentation metadata using DBO schema. Okay, you can see it yellow trip data in DBO schema. So let's create this data flow, same activity, pipeline run ID, table name, and proceed date. Okay, so if you select here only staging record available in this table for now, processing log table. Now let's insert this to this pipeline. Okay, final pipeline. This is not final. I will also create the new pipeline as well, architect all this pipeline. So let's select here store procedure, link this, and I want to disable for now because I do not want to run again presentation table, and select this and log presentation tip data. Okay, go to your setting and select here warehouse and refresh this, and select here insert presentation metadata. Okay, also import here parameter and select here this is a string, and go to here add dynamic content, and go to here system variable, and you can see here pipeline run ID. Click on this, and okay, this is processing date time. Again go to here add dynamic content, go to your system variable, and you can see here pipeline trigger time. Click OK, and this is, you can write here presentation yellow trip data. Okay, so let's execute this. I disable this because I do not want to run again DBO presentation table. So let's go to here, save this and run this. Let's wait to execute this pipeline that succeeded. Go to here warehouse and let's execute this query metadata dot processing, and you can see here in presentation table as well, this is pipeline run ID, table proceed, presentation yellow tip data, and there is same record because in a staging table here is approximate 3 million, and in presentation table there is same record approximates 3 million. Latest date and time, latest proceed pickup date, there is no time, so it's not showing time, and this is runtime of this pipeline. So again go to this here and let's activate now and save this. Now that we have prepared the pipeline to process the staging and presentation layer, let's create an orchestrated pipeline. This pipeline will invoke the staging and presentation pipeline so that we can run the entire data process end to end. To do that, let's again go to here NYC taxi data, and let's use this folder and create new item, create new pipeline, this pipeline for end to end. So name it PL Orchestrate NYC yellow data. Okay, so let's click here to create. This pipeline invoke both staging and presentation pipeline. So let's use here invoke activity, invoke pipeline activity. So let's use another invoke activity to invoke both presentation and staging pipeline. Let's link this first. This invoke staging pipeline, and this invoke presentation pipeline. Presentation pipeline. Okay. So go to again here staging pipeline and go to here setting. Let's use here fabric data pipeline and use here workspace NYC taxi data project, this one. And let's use here first which we create previously pipeline for staging here PL staging processing yellow trip data, and make sure to this pipeline all activities should be activated. You can see here all activity is activated. Also save this, already save. Okay, so now let's go to here presentation pipeline. This is also active all activity, and this is setting is configured now. Okay, and now let's go to here presentation pipeline. We already name it invoke presentation pipeline. Go to here setting and let's choose here fabric data pipeline, and this is workspace and pipeline for presentation here PL present processing taxi data. Okay, so let's select this, and in this we select here staging, in this we have select here presentation. So let's save this and execute. This will proceed February data in staging and accumulate in DVO data presentation table. Okay, so let's run now and validate. So this pipeline is executing. So let's wait for completion. As you can see here, the staging pipeline has been succeeded. Now let's wait for presentation pipeline to complete. Now as you see here, the pipeline has been succeeded, and here staging pipeline took here around 2 minutes 30 seconds, and presentation pipeline took here 3 minutes 38 seconds. So let's query from the project warehouse, go to and let's query this metadata process log, and you can see here let's sort this, let's sort this in descending order, and this is the yellow trip data here staging trip data, and this is staging trip data. Each time when run this staging trip data, before accumulating data, before loading data, it's delete all data then load new data each, and in presentation layer it's accumulate to or append to existing data. Okay, so when each time I run this pipeline, it's process a new file from our project lakehouse. This is project lakehouse, and in yellow data this time this February file is proceed. When we run again, then March file is proceed. We will also run, and let's go to here again this project lakehouse, project warehouse, and if I query from maximum tpay pickup time from dvo dot yellow trip data, and also use here minimum tpay pickup date time, and query this, you can see here clean data. Okay, so 1st of Jan to 29th February. Okay, so here maximum and this is minimum. So now with this we have completed a data pipeline setup. Next we will use this data yellow trip data to create Power BI reports. So let's move on to Power BI. Now that our pipeline is working and our presentation table is contain 2 months of data, January to February, and let's add this data to our semantic model. So if you in home tab, let's go to here reporting section, and you can see here manage default semantic model. So click on this and go to here DVO schema table and select this yellow trip data. Okay, confirm. This will create semantic model to create Power BI reports. Now again, let's navigate to reporting section. You can click here to create new report, or also navigate to workspace and let's select here new item, and under visualization section you can see here visualize data. You can see here report. So let's click here to create new report. Add semantic model in project warehouse. So let's use this. Go to here and create a blank report. So I am creating from scratch here. This is yellow trip data, final and presentation data. So let's add some title. Use here rectangle and let's add. Go to here style and text and add here NYC text yellow report, and this is very small, so let's use here around 40 and let's bold this. Okay, let's quickly create here report. Let's also add here slicer. Add this slicer to T pickup date time. So also go to here format tab and slicing heading. So let's delete this and select date range, bold this and uh, do some small. Using this you can change date range, also add another. So let's format this. Go to here again and in general tab go to here effect and let's use here border and shadow. Okay, so again go to here visualization, let's use slicer another and use another slicer. Let's use for payment type. Go to here setting, slicer setting, let's use here tiles. Okay, and let's use here vendor, do same here tiles. Okay, so copy this and go to here setting and in general tab I select both, so format here both effect border and shadow. Okay, and title, go to here and heading, let's select this heading payment method and this is vendor. Let's use 20 and for this let's use also 20. Okay, now let's use some KPI. So use here this card, let's use here total amount which is revenue, and this go to here rename and this is total revenue in dollar. Okay, and again go to here and let's call this none. Okay, so you can see all amount and let's use copy and paste, copy and paste. Let's use a small, do this some small size and also for this one, and let's use some KPI other like number of trips. So this is the count of data, so let's use and click here and select this and count. This is rename this number of trips. Okay, and this is number of passengers. So let's select unselect this and let's select number of passenger. So rename again This is number of passenger. Okay, so let's select all KPI using shift and go to here format tab, general and effect. Let's use here border on and shadow. Okay, so let's format again, and let's also use here some stack column chart. Let's use here date range, pickup, date time, and let's use here total amount. Okay, and also add here legend by payment type here. Okay, and let's also use some table. So let's format this first. Go to here general tab and let's use here effect, border and shadow. Okay, and let's use here some, for example, pickup, borrow and drop off, borrow, and number of passenger count. Let's see number of rides. So if you go to here again and do this as a count records, so you can rename this. You can also use DEX formula. We will teach you in upcoming video. So total rides. I will start some video on Power BI as well. So please stay tuned. Let's go to here and go to here again general tab, and let's use here effect, visual, and this. So you can see here I will quickly create here visualization, and you can see here payment date. This is a cash payment, this is credit payment, this is dispute, no charge. You can see sudden days in. If you hover this, you can see here, 20th January. Here is too many dispute around $18,000. Okay, so uncheck this. You can see here creative mobile and unknown, so and Verifone. So mostly right from Verifone and creative mobile technology. You can see a number of passenger, and you can use here for date range. Okay, we have created here quickly report in Power BI using this data, yellow trip data. Now that we have created the report in Power BI from the NOIC taxi data from presentation table, now let's optimize here some presentation pipeline. You can see here data flow take around 3 minutes 5 seconds to execute. Let's optimize this data flow and replace this data flow using store procedure. In some case, store procedure is more significant than data flow. So let's use store procedure. Let's go to here project warehouse, and we already create here store procedure. I will put all these code used in this video to description box. You can copy from there and practice. Okay, so here we create here store procedure, name it optimize data flow presentation yellow trip data, and inserting into yellow trip table which created in this DB schema, and use same code as used in data flow. This is the actually mirror of data flow. We use here case statement. If vendor ID 1, then create to mobile technology. If vendor ID 2, Verifone, else unknown. We also use here format this pickup date time to YY, MM and DD, and we use here left join with taxi lookup zone, and we use here two types because we again here use for drop off and pick up. Okay, so DU borrow and PU zone. DO means drop off borrow and drop off zone, PU drop off pick up zone and pick up borrow. Okay, and we also reflect here same condition as used in data flow. So payment type is one, then credit card, as you see here in description here, one credit card, cash two, and so on. So we use here same logic. Payment type 3, which is no charge, payment type 4, which is dispute, 5 unknown, and 6 avoided trip as unknown. and we join with yellow trip data with taxi lookup zone, which we create in staging table. Here staging taxi lookup zone and yellow trip data from staging stg dot yellow trip data. So let's create this procedure. We have successfully created this procedure. Okay, and now let's go to here again presentation table and deactivate this using this deactivate command, and go to here activity tab, and you can see here store procedure activity. Drag this here and link to this one, and you can write here sp presentation table, optimize. Okay, which is data flow. Okay, so not need to write here, and let's save this first. Let's also configure. Go to here setting and select here project warehouse and refresh this. Now save this optimize data flow presentation yellow trip data. Okay, and now save this. This pipeline is saved, and now go to here orchestrate end-to-end pipeline and run again. So here you can see here this pipeline is executing. Now end-to-end pipeline is orchestrated pipeline is succeeded. Now you can see here the first staging pipeline take 2 minutes 23 seconds, and in presentation pipeline take only now 1 minute. Previously it take around 3 minutes. So it's significant improvement in presentation pipeline. So let's verify also result. Go to here and let's see here processing log. You can see around 10 million records, and this is the, if you sort this, okay, this is March records around 3 million, and total is in presentation layer 10 million. So 9554722. So again go to here, and if you refresh this, it's automatically refresh. By the way, refresh this pipeline. Yeah, we need to select here all March data. So okay, you can see here 9554722 records. Okay, and this is the total number of passenger and total revenue. Okay, so you can do here some formatting as well. I will create here quick report. So I confirm here result in Power BI as well and visualize in Power BI. So this marks the completion of our end-to-end data processing experience for the New York City taxi data. We successfully transition from staging to presentation and optimize the performance using the data flow with store procedure, and confirm our result in Power BI as well. Thank you for following along. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe this. See you in next session. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.